now are going through storms and problems and persecutions and situations. But are you trying to find out what God is trying to say, or are you trying to run from it? Are you trying to run from the things that God is trying to show you and run away from the things that God is trying to bless you with? Because if God truly knows what He's doing in all these things and saying, I will make you perfectly strong when you're weak. I will make you strong in the midst of weakness. Are some of you in a weak area? Have you been in weak areas? If not, He's trying to, or you go through a weak area, He's trying to build up strength in you. He's trying to show you, like we said, spots, wrinkles, and blemishes, and grow you stronger and stronger so that each day you can get up thanking God for the beautiful day He has given you. How many of you today really could lift God up with everything? How many of you today could really praise Him just because of what you have today and blessed with what you got today? That you're not at a funeral home preparing the funeral for your son or your daughter or some family member, but you could lift him up that today you had a day of wonderfulness. Could you lift him up, or was it because your boat has got the storms of water that's coming upon it and the weakness upon your life and you can't figure out what's going on? God does not want us in a place that we don't understand. He does not want us confused. He does not want us down and out. He wants us to understand and grab hold of spiritual knowledge so that we know every situation that is happening in our life, that we can grow through each weakness. All things work out to good to those who love the Lord if you understand. But when you don't, then you panic. And you turn your boat away from the storm and you try to turn it away from that hurricane, away from that situation. You know, they got now these satellites that can show where the hurricanes are, and they send the boats out and they'll send them kind of away from the hurricane. They don't want them in the port so that they get destroyed and beat against the side of the port and get beaten up so they can't go through the storm. But sometimes we got to go through things to grow in God and grow in the situation. The greatest gift of learning is life itself. Is life itself. But Paul, grown into a maturity that he's seen, he said that I can count it happy. I can be excited about it. And I can be thrilled. And I can count it a pleasure is what he said. I count it a pleasure to get into infirmities for Christ's sake. I count it pleasure that I could find all these things and be into reproaches, be in necessities, be in persecution, or be distressed for Christ's sake. Because in my weakness, I'm made strong. Because God is growing me stronger into where I can trust Him, to where I can grow in Him. Over the how many years you've been a Christian? How many storms do you think you've went through? How many storms have you went through? But in them storms, how many of them did you learn? Did you learn, or did you avoid and just try to hang on and get through it and say, whew, thank God I got through that one? Or did we look and seek and find out what God was trying to say to each of us? Look and understand and trying to figure out, Lord, what are you trying to show me that I need to learn that I can become stronger and stronger? Because in this weakness, you are my strength to begin with. But I need to have a trust in you, and I need to grow in you, and I need to learn how to overcome these things. And he repeatedly tells us how we can do these things and how we can overcome if we're willing to. If we're willing to learn, or you could keep avoiding them. You can keep trying to run from them. You can keep sending your boats out and the radar saying the hurricane's here, I need to run that way, I need to run this way. Following man's ideas, or go the path that God says and learn what God has for us. Now there's some situations you ain't going to be able to run from. There's some situations, no matter how far you run, no matter how far you hide, it's still going to keep coming at you. And you're going to have to go through it anyway. So why not learn what God has for us? Gain the strengths through the weaknesses. Gain the strengths that we need through the times that we feel like we are nothing. That we feel like we couldn't even get a prayer out nowhere. But continue to walk, and as the way Paul said. and continue to look at situations and saying, oh my God, when a tribulation comes, here's another chance to lift up God. Here's another chance that I can magnify the Lord. It's not that he was begging for them. No, he wasn't begging to be brought through the infirmities or be bound down by chains and face King Agrippa or be beaten or be stoned. It wasn't that he was begging for these things. It was the path that he had to take. And when he went through that path, he was thankful to what God was going through, that he knew he was going to trust him to bring him through it. And if he didn't bring him through it, either way, he was a winner either way, and he knew that. He knew that he was a winner no matter what he faced in whatever situations. But the thing is, Paul knew that. Do you and I know that today? Or are we trying to let our weaknesses drag us down? When you look at believers or look in your own life today, whenever sicknesses enter your family, whenever financial troubles come, what actions are we having? Have you been quick to hear lately, like we said ourselves? In the last couple of weeks, have you really listened to yourself since God has asked us to do that and see how you've really been acting when situations arise? Have you really been listening to what God has been saying and trying to pick up on what He's trying to show us and what He's trying to bring us when our weaknesses hit us? When all of a sudden the worst situation hits you square in the face, it ain't caught God off guard, number one. And number two, He's trying to speak to you. Are you trying to figure it out? If it's in the midst of the storm and the smoke is so thick that you can't see and your ears are so full of everything that you can't hear, are you searching in the Word, trying to find out what He's trying to say and what He's trying to do so that we can grow in strength and understanding? Learning the most important thing, that faith and power behind it. That there's what we're going to show you tonight. That whenever we learn to walk by faith and showing works by faith, that's where we really get our strength from. That's where we'll really glorify God and we'll lift Him up in the midst of the persecutions, in the midst of the storms, because we trust His Word. And if you just keep those two, if you just keep two scriptures in mind, that all will work out to good. And God promises not to put no more on me or give me a way of escape. And whenever situations come, if you'll just hold on to those two and trust them and walk with them, then you'll go through that not with your head down, but with your head up. Keeping your eye on the vision. That's why today the church is losing the vision. It's walking like this. It's walking with its head down like it's whipped and beaten by the devil, because we are getting beaten by the devil. We're falling for his trickery and his voices and his thoughts and his what-ifs and what else here and what else here and whatever else could I have done here in this situation there. See, it's the enemy bringing all these things about. And it's causing us to get weaker and weaker instead of stronger when we should be searching God. Situations, when they come in your life, He's trying to show you how to be stronger. How to be stronger so the next storm that comes at you, the next situation that comes at you, you can be even stronger and stronger and continue to grow and become more mature and more adult-like in every action that we do. When you look at how long you've been in this, is your actions, what grade level are you in? What maturity level are we in? And as we said, there's many people today that's been in this 40 years that if you told them you got childlike behaviors, they'd get mad and storm out and wouldn't speak to you again and swear up down they're adult. Yeah. But they couldn't even see it. They can't see the truth behind it. They can't see that action would be the same as a child getting mad, putting his toys up, saying, I ain't playing with you no more. I don't like what you did. I'm taking my toys home and I'm not going to play games with you no more. I don't like what you said to me. And it's a childlike behavior, but they can't even see it. And see what the difference is, they don't want to look, they don't want to humble down, and they don't want to mature and really see the truth behind it. They don't want to really look down deep in their heart and say, oh God, I need to grow up. Oh God, I need maturity so that when these situations come, that I can walk through the gates of any situation lifting holy hands. That I can uplift you in the midst of the storm, and I can magnify you in the